woke up in the middle of the night, just absolutely terrified. And to add to the fear, I was in a psychiatric hospital and I wasn't allowed out. I got through those last 2 days and I eventually did get out. But the one thing that was really helpful with being in there was all the different people that I met from like all walks of life, different social classes, different ages, genders, and none of that stuff matters. It's just a bunch of people in there and we were all there for similar reasons. We were just really hurting. I hadn't experienced that level of understanding before. I'm often asked why the theme in so many of my pictures is of strong, adventurous women, whether it's my family, sisters, friends, different relationships that I've been in. I've just been fortunate enough to experience so much love and understanding from these women. Sometimes they put up with me, and sometimes they'll like tell me the truth when I need to hear it. It was the women I'm so fortunate to have in my life that really started the process of leading me forward. And at first it was just them being there for me, like letting me cry on their shoulders or express the pain that I was in or the fear, sending supportive messages, like being there on some of the most difficult, darkest times and lowest points. And after that phase, it was more of motivating and encouraging me when it was time like to start getting back on my feet. And it was like, all right, Brian, like it's time to get back on your feet. It's time to like start working towards some goals here. I accidentally discovered making art 12 years ago. But when I did sit down one day and I started making those first dots, it was almost like a key being put in a lock. Like it just fit very quickly after making those first few dots. It was like, this is for me, like this is something special. And since those first days, I've never stopped making dots. It's become more than just making pictures. It's what the dots have taught me. In the simplest and most unexpected thing, I found a purpose. And as I make more and more dots, I constantly learn that I need to pull all my attention and all my focus into making that one dot before I move on to the next one. I kept trying to have prints made from these different professional printing companies, and it just didn't match. It was really expensive. I had a realization like, I'm gonna have to learn how to do it myself. I didn't know how to print on paper, I didn't know how to print on canvas, what printers I needed, and I knew I wanted to be able to have stretch canvas. And with minimal hand function, I'm like, how am I gonna be able to stretch this canvas? Over time, I was able to teach myself the ins and outs of printing, and I started off small with smaller printers and I worked my way up, and it took years of trial and error and I'm still figuring it out. It can be a process of months and even years to perfect it, and you tweak the colors until I feel like they match up to the original. When I got it out there and I started to do my first shows, it was just absolutely amazing what happened. Like the response was just overwhelming. The people really connected with it. They connected with the art and they connected with the story behind it and was able to see like what I was trying to portray through the pictures. Most of the time, the ways I used to make art is I would just spend days and days and hours with a blank piece of paper and trying to draw an outline and going back and using photos and so many different pieces of paper and just trying to perfect this thing. Like I have this image, like it needs to look like this, and if I can't get it like this, it's not perfect. But now I'm starting to realize what's true in my art is to just draw whatever comes out in that moment and to not erase it. Time is so different when I'm deep in the dot zone, as I call it. Like, it's just really crazy how the perception of time changes. It takes a little while to get into it. Like I'll sit down and maybe 20, 30 minutes, 6 hours can go by, and it feels like 1 hour went by. It takes so much focus and concentration that I have to continually stay focused on making that one dot, because if I look ahead and try to figure out like what I'm going to do in other spots, I lose focus on where I am and I lose focus on the concentration on this dot. So I always have to kind of just see each dot as its own individual piece of art, make that dot, when I'm done that one, focus on the next one. I went through a phase actually where I stopped celebrating the last dot. It's just so much fun and so exciting to finish a picture. I have to celebrate it. It's just part of the whole thing. It's just really special. Ever since I was young and I started to like learn about life and started experiencing life, I just had this feeling like I just wanted to grab a hold of it. I really wanted to live. While being alive, I just truly want to experience everything. And this weirdness and this pain and the beauty, this is all part of that everything.